At the next general election, almost certainly we are now seeing indications that maybe turnout might be an issue, and that Labour being so far ahead is unfortunately putting people off. Which, as I said, guys, please do not be turned off. Go out and vote. I keep on repeating this. I will repeat it every moment until the next general election. Look, we have a once in a lifetime opportunity to absolutely smash the Tory party for probably a decade, if not more. And that leaves the door open for so much possibilities going ahead in the future. And yet, people would rather risk that. I generally mean risk that because my big worry is we see what could happen in Uxbridge, of where the Labour candidate was 400 votes off losing. 400 votes off losing. But if the other parties had decided to participate in tactical voting, we could have had someone, and that particular Labour candidate was pro PR as well. We could have had a really good victory in that seat. But unfortunately, I do worry there are people out there who are purposefully trying to do that. And trust me, in the week after, we'll be celebrating such progressive tragedies on purpose. I'm just saying it, guys. That's how it is potentially going to be. But onto something a bit more positive, because we've got to ask the question: Could we be seeing a Portillo moment at this upcoming general election, or what could be maybe renamed from a Portillo moment to a Sunak moment? Could be very, very interesting indeed. But before we get into sort of looking at this and sort of what's going on in Richmond and Northallerton, as it's now called, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page, one of today's link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, as always, there is the Patreon page, the Pony Club, etc. All that down below. Go check it out. So, as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help the channel. Like I say, you can click the like and share button as well. And of course, thank you very much for everyone who does support the channel. So, let's crack on into this first. But first, you might be asking, to those who maybe weren't around in 97 or at least like me were very, very young at the time, what is a Portillo moment? Well, it obviously refers to Michael Portillo. And Portillo was the ultimate guy who, after the general election, was meant to be the guy who was going to take over from John Major. He was going to be the future of the party. It was his party to lead, and he would be the one leading them into a new glorious future of conservatism. That's how much they were really hyping him up. And his seat in Enfield, he had a majority of 15,000. And he lost that to an absolutely unknown Labour candidate. Just completely lost the seat. And this was easily one of the most shocking moments of that night. But it did cement in the idea that it was a significant landslide moment that was incoming to be delivered on the Conservatives at that point back in 1997. So now we have almost a very similar situation. The Tories are in a far, far worse state than they ever were. But what could maybe drive this sort of seat into oblivion? Maybe we do see the seat change hands from Sunak to Labour. But don't get me wrong, this is a significant challenge. Sunak's majority of the seat and at least vote share at the last, of course, general election was about 63%, something like that. It was like 63 point something something, but 63%, nothing to sniff at. That is a sizable majority. That is something, you know, that would be at any general election quite difficult to overturn. Now, don't necessarily think it's impossible, because I think if you look at Rishi Sunak, you look at the fact that people, especially in his own seat, really don't like him. They are constantly talking about, well, he doesn't really want to be here. He wants to go off to America because of his green card that he still has. There's talk, of course, his wife's non-dom status that happened. That's all hurting him, and of course, everything that's happened sort of since then, all the gaffes. But more importantly, of course, is the D-Day stuff. The D-Day stuff, in particular, I think could seriously hit Rishi Sunak, because in Rishi Sunak's constituency, there is the largest barracks, I believe, in of certainly UK soldiers. I think it's in the UK. I don't know if we have bigger outside the UK, but I certainly think it's the biggest one in the UK that we have stationed right there. Um, Given the fact that this has really, really become, and you've seen the public reaction of this for the past couple of days, sort of realize, oh, this was like really, really bad. Even, conservative MPs, I think we've seen this has been the moment where they're like, nope, I'm ignoring the national campaign. I'm just going to run a local campaign on local issues. And of course, we've talked about this before about MPs launching, personal manifestos, trying to fight this campaign on local politics, not national politics. Yeah, how well did that work out at the local elections? What was the response that we kept on hearing from local councillors when they were canvassing, trying to be re-elected, specifically on local politics? It was the people in Westminster they were most annoyed at, and that is now the people who are now coming for those votes. What do you think the reaction is going to be? What do you think the reaction is going to be? Of course, and when you factor in that big D-Day disaster, the fact that this has really seemed to, from at least of what we know, although we won't probably know until the election comes out, because there are rules in and around, people in the military talking about politics, but could have a significant impact, could have a very, very significant impact on Rishi Sunak. So there is a good chance Rishi might actually lose his seat. So just one of these things that I want to sort of read here. So according to the latest NPR polling for Best for Britain, this could be apparently a very, very close race. So it's going to be a very close race, but you've also got, what about Reform UK? Because I'm not 100% sure if they have a candidate here. I'll have to look into it, but I think they might have a candidate. So that's going to split the vote as well. And the current data, or at least, again, the data at least taken at the time of this particular poll, puts the Conservatives ahead at just 2.4%. So come election night, Richmond and Northallerton will be one of those weather vane seats that is probably worth paying a bit of attention to. And certainly one of the points during the night we'll be looking at, right? So Richmond and Northallerton have announced that they're going to release the results at this time of night. So it'll be everyone, all eyes onto Richmond and Northallerton, because if there is to be another Portillo moment, this could be the seat in. And don't get me wrong, there are other plenty of Conservatives who are also probably at massive risk. People are also going to be seeing, fun to leave, like Jacob Rees-Mogg, Miriam Cates. Like I say, she's only next door in Penistone and Stocksbridge. So there is a number of Conservative MPs that I think we are all going to be very, very glad to see the back of. But like I say, guys, tactical voting. Don't miss this opportunity, because opportunities like this don't come around too often. And yet there are people who are like, you can vote with your conscience. No, don't believe it. Anyway, as always, thank you very much. And of course, we'll see you all next time.